All right, everybody, welcome back now to a seventh episode of Grown Man's Game, our second part of our two-round fantasy football mock draft. I'm Gerrit Ritt, formerly the Jim Rome Show, NBC, Fox, all the rest. My man here is Johnny Ballgame, John Collins. He'll be joining me for our second round. John, what do you think of our first round, really quick, that we did earlier this week?
I told you it's a little more tough this week. Just much more parity. The receivers are starting to pile up in the first round. I'm not a big receiver guy. I'm starting to loosen up to it because those top three guys are really they're impressive and they're going to score a lot of points. But yeah, I'm starting to learn more and getting ready here as we approach August.
So before we get going, we're going to give you a quick rundown of who we both took in the first round. So we did the first 12 picks. John started first. I went second. We alternated. Now we're going to snake it back on 13. Since I had the 12th pick, I'll start again on 13 and work my way back to the 24th pick. We are doing point per reception on this one and a 6-point touchdowns for quarterbacks, which is the only freaking way to go. If you're playing 4-point touchdowns for quarterbacks, you are doing it wrong and fix it now. I refuse to be in any league that does that. It's garbage. So, uh, so real quick, our first round that we did earlier this week, John had the first pick overall. I think you may have thought that you were going a little bit off the board there by taking Austin Eckler, but I totally agree with you. I think Austin Eckler is a man to go right now. He is the first pick in both of our drafts, so we both like that guy. I think we'll find out that Eckler is going to be the number one pick in a lot of leagues. Uh, Saquon Barkley, I went with at number 2. Somehow I'm seeing him at second rounds in other places. I didn't realize I was going out on that much of a tangent there with Saquon, but we had him going second. You went with Jonathan Thomas at 3. I went with Nick Chubb at 4.
Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, yeah,
What'd I say? I
Thomas.
put
Oh,
Jonathan Thomas. Yeah, a little bit different. Sorry. Jonathan Taylor, 3. I went Nick Chubb. You finally went with the guy that a lot of people are taking number 1 with CMC, my guy Christian McCaffrey. I went Derrick Henry, and then we went on the wide receiver run. You started off with Justin Jefferson. I quickly went with Josh Jacobs, and you went with Travis Kelce, who I thought was an upset at number 9, but you seem to like it. Fair enough. Kelce at 9. Then it was Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. That leaves a lot of talent going on this second round.
right.
So before we even get to the second round, John, do you have any thoughts on the first round? Do you like where we were at? What do you see coming up in the second round? Do you see a run on running backs? Do you see a run on receivers? Do you see either one of us potentially taking a QB or a tight end somewhere?
Right. As I'm looking at it, it depends on your strategy, right? A lot of running backs heavy in our draft, and I don't think that's going to be the norm for a lot of drafts. So, we'll see what comes up here, but it depends on what you got. Do you like the running back strategy? You mentioned a quarterback, best available. For me, you'll find out here in the second round what I like to do, but it's fun doing this because it kind of just begins to unfold as to what the strategy is. Again, you got to know who and what you're drafting with, your draft members and their tendencies. It's a little early for that, but at this point, you got to develop, what am I going to do? Am I going to really go running back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, wide receiver?
So let's get it going then. I will go with a lot of the same thoughts you just brought up. And with having already had Devontae Adams with my last pick of the first round, someone to pair with him, it's going to be really hard for me to avoid taking Tyreek Hill here and have a Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill wide receiver combo. That would be just sick. No one in the league is going to be better than that.
You're doing
But
it?
I'm going to have a real tough time with that because all of a sudden I'm not going
Right.
to have a single running back for 30 or for 24 more picks. God knows who's going to be around then. Is my first running back going to be like Alexander Madison and maybe Aaron Jones? Is that a good enough running back combo there? Or who knows who's going to be available? Javante Williams, maybe something like that. That's a risk. So I got to go running back, even though Tyreek Hill has promised us 2,000 yards and God knows how many touchdowns. We don't know what's going on with Tua Tagovailoa. He put up numbers, but everyone else in the offense did not put up numbers once Tua went out. So I'm skipping Tyreek Hill right now, and I'm going to take the top running back on the board at 13, and that was Tony Pollard.
Well, just with your little speech there, you inspired me. And I don't know how many yards Tyreek had last year. I know over 1,800. So I have Jamar Chase here. And just for shits and giggles, excuse my language, I'm going to take Hill here and know that I'm set up for receiver. And then I'll figure out my running backs the next handful of rounds.
John, you are crushing that microphone with whatever you're writing on. So careful. There we go. You got, so that's a Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill combo. That is pretty powerful. Yeah, Tyreek was crazy last year. I think he had over 1,800, like you said, double-digit touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown in the game I was at San Diego against the Chargers game. So that was I think their only touchdown of that game. He is fun to watch, and it did not matter when Tua was out of the lineup. He is their guy. They found him the ball some way or another, and he still put up numbers. So we're off in the second round of our mock draft. I went with Tony Pollard, the 13th pick. Johnny with Tyreek Hill with the 14th. Totally understandable. I had Cooper Kupp at this spot with our 10th pick, so I'm coming around and so to pair with him. Again, I'm going to have to go with running back. I could be taking Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, any of those guys. But I'm sticking running back, and I'm going to go with Travis Etienne. I think he's going to have a huge year. The Jaguars are going to be stacked on offense. Trevor Lawrence is going to be just breakout this year, I think. He's going to have a great all-pro kind of season. They have Calvin Ridley in there, wide receiver now, even more, adding on to their other wide receivers they have. So I think Etienne's going to have a breakout year. He catches a ton of balls as well. Bring me Travis in his third season in the league.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, Trevor's stepping up. Calvin Ridley, that should be an explosive offense. Mediocre defense, so they should be in high-scoring games. So I like it. I got Travis Kelce, your boy. I know you love it, but I'm still very excited because I know how much he will dominate the tight end position again. Not many guys close behind. Mark Andrews, he had some health issues, but so with Kelce now, and you know me, I got to get a running back. There's plenty of beautiful wide receivers here. I'm just going to go with the popular pick right now. I've done a little study on Bijan Robinson from Texas. He's getting a lot of love, so I'm going to slot him in right here, and I'm happy about it. He's a decent receiver. You know, Atlanta ran the ball as good as anyone last year, so we'll see. But I'm happy there with Bijan.
They got a quarterback, Desmond Ridder. We have no idea what he's going to do. Drake London is their best receiver. Their tight end is strong, but they haven't really proven it yet. Are they going to shove the ball down Bijan's throat 30 times a game, 25, 30 times a game, and get him hurt? I mentioned last time on our first episode, I really have a struggle with the rookie running back as my number one guy, which you just did. Now, if I waited later on this round, perhaps, and paired him with Nick Chubb or Jonathan Taylor or Saquon, maybe I would do that. So I think you're taking a big risk. Already haven't taken a risk with Kelce. That's a tough team right there, going Kelce Bijan.
This is an experiment, Gerrit Ritt. This is just a test.
Right here in my first round, I had Josh Jacobs. So I got my running back already. That means I could pair him with another really good running back and have a pretty strong tandem. I don't particularly like anyone right now. Bijan may have been that guy that I took right here and made him my second running back. But now that I have someone who I think is a stud, and we're, of course, assuming that Josh Jacobs doesn't hold out too long and he actually plays. We can't, think about that too heavy. But this guy led the NFL in rushing last year. So they're going to feed him the ball if and when he gets in the lineup. That means I'm going to go wide receiver here to pair him up with that, get a stud in my game, and I'm going to do Stephon Diggs right here to pair with him.
The whiny one. Oh, we don't know how he's doing with Josh. Are they friends? Have they had dinner and made up yet?
Who knows? I think they'll be fine. He's never had it better. He has a chance to win a Super Bowl this year. So,
right. So,
Try
here we are.
and get back in the ballgame. Make plays.
All right, so I have Jefferson here. You start to notice that the running back situation is kind of a cliff here. There's
I
some
agree.
veteran running backs that I see, like Najee. I still love Aaron Jones. I think he can have a big year. We don't know what Love's going to do and how he's going to move that offense, but you would think he's going to get a lot of carries. I know AJ Dillon will steal a lot of goal line. So it's pretty tough times here. But I like Brees Hall here. Let's face it, Aaron's coming into town. It's a rock show. He looked really good. I know he got dinged up, but with that offense, he'll have plenty of opportunities. With Garrett Wilson, they should be a machine, scoring a lot of points. So give me Brees.
I feel you. And I think you mentioned it. This is the cliff right here. This is the 11th running back off the board. And after that, it kind of nosedives. Now, I'd like a few guys. I still like some running backs out there, but they're not in that tier with hopefully a healthy Brees Hall and a rookie like Bijan. So I think you're right. And from here on out, we took all running backs in this first round, the first 6 picks. And now we got the last 6 picks here of the second round. So I feel a little bit better not having to force a second running back and then be able to get them on the third round side, perhaps, or even a little bit later. So at this point, I think receiver is definitely the play. I sure as hell am not going to take a quarterback anytime soon. We can talk about that in a minute, but Patrick Mahomes may be a thought here at this point, but not for me. You already took Kelsey. Like you said, no tight ends anywhere near his level. I don't see anyone going for at least a 4th or 5th round or so. So at this point is the best wide receiver available. I think you got some really good options here. I like 5 different guys. I'm not going to feel bad about anyone in the rest of this first round or second round, but I will take the team that went to the Super Bowl in the NFC's best player, and that's AJ Brown right here, pairing him with Derrick Henry on this squad.
I like it. I like it. He started to come on. He had a injury history, but man, he showed up strong, powerful. He's going to get 8 to 10 targets. He's going to score 10 touchdowns and have 1,500 yards. Can't argue. All right. Speaking of receivers,
you're on the board at 20. We got 5 picks left in the second round.
Right. So I need a receiver with McCaffrey. I'm not thrilled with McCaffrey with the injuries, but let's face it, if they manage him well and utilize him like they normally do, I'm a little sketched on Sam Darnold possibly starting the first few games.
You think?
A little bit, and we don't know what the rookie, how that elbow is, Purdy. So we'll see. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to do CeeDee Lamb.
I thought you were going Debo. I thought you were going Debo there. I thought you were getting ready to set it up.
Did. He's on my list. Injury concerns. That guy running and catching, and he's like a running back. And he is always injury risk, it seems. I do love Debo. Good call. But I'm going CD. He just seems to be getting better every year. He's the clear number 1. Dak likes to go to him, so I can't go wrong there in my mind.
You're not hurt by them signing Brandon Cooks, huh?
That'll
phase you.
That'll open up more.
There you go. No, I think it's a smart pick. Although this guy I actually have rated above CD on my list, and this is where I'm going to go with the 21st pick to pair up with Nick Chubb, who I took at the 4th spot, and I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson of the Jets. He is going to be Aaron Rodgers' number 1 guy. You know how he loves his number 1 guys. He's peppered Devontae Adams for over a decade, it seems. Garrett Wilson had 83 catches and 1,100 yards last year with Zach Wilson throwing him the ball. And God knows who else. Mike White, I think. I mean, they had absolutely nothing at the quarterback spot, and he still had 1,100 yards. So this guy's going to get all kind of targets his way. Love me some Garrett.
There's a guy here that's, again, I haven't looked at closely, but the last 2 years he was like a top 5 or 6 pick. Gets a ton of carries, can catch the ball. Quarterback play wasn't great, but his quarterback last year is building momentum. Kenny Pickett, they're building their defense up. Give me Najee. He catches the ball. Talk about 300 carries. I don't know why he's nowhere to be found here, but I'm down with going Jonathan Taylor and Najee Harris to start building my stable of backs.
Is this where you would consider there to be a wide receiver cliff after Garrett Wilson, CD Lamb? Is there are
Oh man, there's a few more. Almost. We're not totally at that cliff yet. You know,
all right.
I can
Curious
throw
why
some.
you went running back right there for a guy who has coming off a really, really bad year. Well,
Well,
not as bad as people think. I mean,
yeah,
he actually, I think he scored 10 TDs,
he
but
was
didn't have
dinged up
much
too.
yardage.
Yeah, we'll see. In the third year, I think it's his time. I really like him a lot.
Yeah, he ruined Najee ruined a lot of teams' seasons last year, but yeah, he still put up some kind of numbers, just not any yards at all. Who knows? He could come
That team
back
was
and
a mess.
really be good for an improved Pittsburgh offense. Let's see. So I won't totally dump on that one. Uh,
Feel
with
free.
two picks left here, and I had Saquon with the second pick overall. So this is who I'm going to be pairing with him. I have this guy really high on my list. I had Jalen Waddle kind of thought out here, but I think I'm going to pass on that. Even though he had 1,300 yards and 8 TDs last year, but when Tua was out, he was garbage. In 5 games that Tua out, he scored no TDs and had
Interesting.
less than 50 yards a game on average. So
Interesting.
that was not a good stat for me. And I don't think Tua is going to survive this entire year. There's going to be times where he's going to be dinged up and miss the game. So I'm going to have to wait on Waddle a little bit. And instead, I'll go with another one of Philly's top targets, and that's Devontae Smith. I think he's going
Yeah.
to have a monster year. He had 95 catches last year, 100, almost 1,200 yards, 7 TDs. Getting him in the second round, I don't know, maybe a tad bit of a stretch. I just think he's going to have even more of a breakout year and really just go crazy for the Eagles.
I don't mind it. I do think it's early. I don't think it's a certainty. You know, are they going to have a hangover? You know, Philly, they got rid of some defensive guys. They got rid of my guy, Miles Sanders, who's another sleeper later, the fourth round.
I
I
had
don't know
him, by
about
the way, I have him as my next running back on my
on the
list. I
call.
have him
Yeah.
passing on all these guys playing for
Yeah.
my Panthers. He's going to get all kinds of love. But go ahead. Sorry.
I love them. So yeah, we're just at this funny cliff, this little gray area. And you know what it's time for? With the number one pick, I have Eckler. And give me the number one quarterback, G. Give me Mahomes. You're going to have to deal with that bing, bang, boom. I know that I'm going to get consistent points. I know that he's going to win me 3 or 4 games on his own. So rock and roll. I feel good. I can sleep well at night.
I felt you were going that route. I think we talked about him a little while back. It's hard to argue. The guy puts up 40 TDs, barely throws any picks. And like you said, he's guaranteeing you 20, 25, sometimes 30, 35 points a game. I just can't do it, man. I cannot draft a quarterback and waste a spot there when I can get Trevor Lawrence in the 10th round for,
Yeah, but
here's how my draft went really quick last year. I won't take too much time in this, but my draft has been going on for 20 years, this league I'm in. In the 10th round on, 12 teams, Dak went in our 11th round, our 10th round. Derek Carr went in the 11th. Kirk Cousins, the 12th. Tua and Trevor Lawrence both in the 13th round. You can get that's a lot of points that deep in the draft that I'm totally okay with. I'm totally okay with waiting on any of those. Tom Brady, I think, went in the 8th or 9th round last year in that league. You don't need to go high on a QB. I've told people this year after year. Mahomes maybe in the one exception, Josh Allen because he runs the ball and gets some cheap touchdowns. But I'm anti QB anywhere near the 7th or 8th
I,
round. I'll wait
I,
every time.
I, I disagree, man. Patrick is good on the road, good at home. You get some of these later quarterbacks, and they're on the road matchups are a little more tough. You know, we're at this cliff now, so you're kind of taking a shot here. I'm not taking a shot. I got security. I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I got to do a little more work later, but what we're talking about here at the turn, how certain are there? I think one more round of pretty good players that I see here. You know, guys like T. Higgins. We even talk about Debo. Sure, those might be some good ones, but And I play in a league, G, where the point system's a little, we give you more points for longer touchdowns. And that's a whole nother story, but it's,
Big
it's
plays.
the
Yeah.
same stuff. So I know it's early, but I believe Mahomes will be going at the end of the second or in the third in most drafts. So I understand your strategy, but I'm going more security. And those quarterbacks that you talked about before, I love Brady too, but Derek Carr, like not Derek Carr, man. It's not happening. Where's Burrow going to go? Is Burrow going to go third or fourth? Allen, is he going to go? Is there going to be a run? Do we start a run on quarterbacks? That's part of the fun of the game and drafting. So
There's 12 quarterbacks that's going to have to be starting in
Mhm.
every fantasy league.
Mhm.
And 12 of those guys are not going to be going in the first 5, 6 rounds. Really quick, if you're going to take Mahomes right here with the last pick of the second round, you'll again have the first pick in the next round. For argument's sake, who do you go with there now that you have a QB and a running back?
I'm definitely going running back. I mean, receiver. But another point to make here, G, is drafting value. Mahomes is the best player on the board. Security. I can still get a quarterback, seventh, eighth, ninth, maybe a stud. And all of a sudden, if that guy starts producing, I got Mahomes for a trade. And that's a whole nother, podcast about trade. So Mahomes has tons of value and security. But with that all being said, you know that, and there's Dobbins here, J.K. Dobbins, man. You talk about a guy that started to come on. He was injured. I don't mind him here, but give me Debo just because I love him. You didn't take him, right? So, yeah.
Nope.
Debo.
I passed on
Yeah.
Debo and Jalen. There's other guys like
Yeah.
Amon Ra is still sitting there.
Higgins.
Terry McLaurin,
Higgins. Yeah.
T. Higgins. Yeah. So that's our
Yeah.
second round. Again, really quickly. Uh, I went Tony Pollard with the 13th pick. Johnny backed up his Jamar Chase and went with Tyreek Hill with the 14. Then it was Travis Etienne. We finally hit Bijan Robinson there with pick 16, and he paired him with Travis Kelce. So he's still looking for some wide receivers in that spot. Uh, After that, I went Stephon Diggs at 17, Brees Hall at 18, A.J. Brown at 19, C.D. Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Najee Harris at 22. Devontae Smith was kind of a reach for me at 23, but I think he's going to have a big year. And then we wrapped it up. Patrick Mahomes, last pick of the second round. Johnny, thanks so much, man. Good stuff. 1 and 2 rounds in the books. We'll come back later, closer to the beginning of the season, and we'll probably do it all over again. So, all right. Thanks, gang. See you next time on Grown Man's Game.
You got it, buddy. Be good.